In honor of one of my users or viewers who commented on my video, I believe his name is Family Duck 2762. I've decided to talk about the article which he requested me to do so. Here's the one from The Guardian. The Sydney University is under fire for vet scholarship giving preference to male. Now, what this entire article discusses is the fact that the Sydney University has made veterinary science and its possible electives available preference male from rural or low-income areas. I think this is, and so there's a lot of reactions to it, like explicitly saying that from women and minority groups saying that this is not what's right. This affirmative action should help people that are in low income or have not been preferenced in many situations. And while the article does discuss that veterinary science is now a female-dominated field, I think it's a bit hypocritical that people are calling out this issue. For example, we always talk about how women should always be allowed into STEM research areas such as science, technology, um, engineering, medicine, that kind of stuff. And that's a good thing. We should always make sure there's an inclusive dialogue with as many groups as possible in any field. If you make like there's a criticism for the fact that many of our politicians come from private schools, even though the majority of students, around 79%, go to public schools, and our politicians do not represent that. And that's dangerous. So altogether, if there's a lack of men from low-income groups or from rural areas, I think that this is a good program that the University of Sydney has done. Consider this for a moment. Imagine if they had included or excluded Aboriginals or Asian Australians. That would have caused quite an outrage. And likewise, affirmative action really does have that many problems. It doesn't help people that don't have that advantage. And what I mean by advantage, I mean that don't do well on tests. Despite the fact that a lot of Asians, South Asians, East Asians do well in tests, we do not, we are still discriminated against, and we do not have a lot of protection or liability. There's a sticky floor example, or the sticky floor theory, where we try to get into highly professional field and are stuck at entry-level jobs or unable to advance, or even unable to get the degree because of our race. So altogether, while there is some criticism that may be valid, I think that this is a step in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, I'm not fully for one-to-one ratio of affirmative action. Like if there's a 25% of a population is a minority, I don't want you to give 25% of the spots to the exact minority because that lowers the standards. What I would recommend in this case is that for any preference to certain groups, whether it be the privileged or the underprivileged, there should always be half of what the percentage of the population percentage. So if men make 50, so since men make around 50% of the population in Australia, your degree should always try to have a quota of 25% men in it. And that will foster a mutually understanding environment, and it will help provoke ideas and thought. Likewise, if 30% of the population is from low income, meaning that live below the poverty line, I recommend that you should always have a program in your degree where 15% of the people come from low income or poverty related areas. You want to always have a foster an equal society where even if people aren't given an equal amount of resources, have the equal opportunity to advance. And the other 50%, and the second part of this is that 50% should be completely blind. This way you do not discriminate against people in any way or shape or form, while also allowing people from disadvantaged groups to enter your program. So altogether, if rural and lower income males, even white males or European males, are disadvantaged in entering veterinarian science, I think that the University of Sydney should continue with this program. Now, now, I'm not sure. Now, if you disagree with this, I think you're being a bit hypocritical. If you People always complain, like I said before in this video, people always complain about the sausage fest, but no one talks about the taco fests that are human resources, the fact that the design stores don't accept men. I've been I've been pushed aside or told directly to my face that they don't want any men, and no one bats an eye. So yes, we should do this program.